Breaking news! In case you haven't heard, Paulo Costa is out. He's not fighting at UFC 294. Also, Charles Oliviera is out. He will not be contesting for the lightweight title versus Islam Mackhachev. Now instead, we have two replacements. We have Alexander Volkanovski jumping in, 11 days short day notice, to fight Islam for the second time, contesting for the 155 title. Then we have Kamaru Usman stepping in. Instead of Paulo Costa, he will be going up to middleweight to contest versus Khamzat Chimaev. So incredible news, incredible change. I bet you're all shocked to hear this. I'm just as shocked, and I'm happy as well. It's kind of weird. I'm sad that we don't get to see these two anticipated fights. But let's start with the first one. So Alex Volkanovski steps in. Man, hats off, dude. This guy has balls of steel. Man, you're coming in 11 days short notice. No, a couple other things. People are questioning how ready is he. How can he really be ready? I mean, come on, face it, guys. He's in great shape, right? He can always go. He's got great cardio. I trust in him. He would not have accepted this fight if he wouldn't even perform to some kind of bare minimum. But the fact of the matter is, if you remember, after Yair Rodriguez, what did he do? He went to have surgery. 3 months recovery, and this 3 months of recovery is up now. He fought Yair in July. So he just barely is recovering from a surgery, hand surgery. He had a hand surgery. Number two, he just had a newborn just 2 weeks ago. That's what I read. Just 2 weeks ago. You would imagine he celebrated. He didn't train that much. And plus, he's recovering from that injury, so he's definitely not in the best shape. As excited as I am, and a lot of you guys are excited, we're not going to see the best Alexander Volkanovski. Now, Islam did not also expect Alexander Volkanovski. He expected to fight Charles Oliviera. Completely different opponent, completely different style. So, yes, but still, Islam did go through a full camp. So I'm sure he's ready, and he's got 11 days to make those adjustments. But, Alexander Volkanovski, he has to make that flight now to Abu Dhabi. Now, I know how these long flights are. Jet lag is a real thing. And I experience it every time. Every time I go, I have trouble sleeping, trouble adjusting, going east and west. I went both ways. And I went on almost 15-hour flights. I know how it is. I can only imagine. I never train. After these kind of trips, I don't go to the gym. I don't run. But I would imagine it's very difficult to. On top of that, you got to train. So that's also a thing. Just that alone. Now, that's the first fight. But still, I am excited. Maybe it's, not the fight how we wanted it to end up. Not a fully prepped Alexander Volkanovski, not a full camp from Islam prepping for him. But we just got to accept them. We got to be content with what we're getting, because we could have easily never had that rematch. I talked about this. I talked about this. I even made a video. I rewatched the fight. I think it's a Hall of Fame fight. It was a tremendous fight, and I'm really excited for it. Check out that video, please. And then, the thing is, now we just have to accept this because they might have never fought ever again. We could have had Islam versus Charles. Islam, as the favorite, could have won. After that, he could have contested for the 170 title, which I also talked in another video. And then he could have been champ. And why would he even exercise any more a rematch at that point? A lot of things would change, Plus, Alex Volkanovski would have had the match with Topuria, so you never know. And you see with these injuries, things can change in just less than 24 hours. Everything changes. So I guess we just got to be happy with this, that we're getting to see these two gentlemen fight again. And you never know. We might even see a trilogy. Who knows? So that's the first thing. And then also one more important thing to mention. One fan on Twitter asked Dustin Poirier, this is how he asked him, if you were to have been offered this fight, would you have accepted it? Dustin Poirier answered. He said, yes, and I actually accepted it. So they offered a fight to him as well. He accepted it. Dustin could have been there. But guess what? Dustin said yes, Volkanovski said yes, but they picked Volkanovski. So UFC is tremendous. And also, making last-minute changes. And they're not just going to go for the first available fighter just to make a replacement. No, they're going to go for the best possible fight that they can make at that very moment. Only will they go to a very bad alternative if they have to. But so far, we've had, we saw that situation with Nate Diaz and when he was supposed to fight Khamzat. They switched up the whole card just 2 days before the event. That was very impressive. So after that, anything is possible at the UFC. They're tremendous in that. Really incredible. Really good team. Yeah. So, yeah, Dustin would have accepted it. Now, my brain is thinking 2 plus 2. If they offered Dustin a fight, I'm pretty sure they reached out to Justin Gaethje, who, by the way, beat Dustin and was somewhere down the line, if not the next fight, would have been for his title fight, right? So what that leads me to believe is that maybe Justin rejected the fight. Maybe Justin also said yes. Maybe we will never know. But maybe he did reject it, right? Who knows? Maybe he wants the full camp. He wants to be ready for Islam. Maybe he doesn't want to take it that way. And I respect it, and I respect Dustin for accepting the fight, supposedly. That's why if you were going to believe him, I don't see a reason. I don't think he would lie like that publicly. But yeah, hats off to Alex Volkanovski. I mean, this guy is the BMF. How can you not love this guy? And but moving forward, the other fight. I was always a big critic of Kamaru Usman. I'm not his biggest fan. But man, I just have to give it to him right now. That's a badass move. You're taking an 11-day short notice fight. You're going to go up in weight. He never fought in the middleweight. And you're going to fight Khamzat Chimaev, who went through a full camp. Now, that's badass. That's balls of steel. Also, considering the fact that we talked about that matchup earlier this year, and Kamaru Usman was open to face him at 170. The thing is, in the meantime, Khamzat Chimaev decided that he no longer wants to fight at 170. He cannot or doesn't want to cut that weight. As he struggled before, he doesn't want to go through that again, so he decided to compete in middleweight. And he said, I'm open to fight him in middleweight. I remember that. And Kamaru Usman's response was, who are you, bro? I am the number one contender here at 170. We were supposed to set at 170, and now you're demanding that I go up and fight you. He answered, who are you? But here we are. We all disregarded that. We forgot about that. We thought we're never going to see that matchup. And fast forward, end of the year, and now we got Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev, which is arguably the better fight. The more even fight, maybe, Khamzat is not as much of a favorite. Maybe he's not a favorite at all now. I'm not sure. It's hard to determine this because, Kamaru never fought at 185. He never fought at middleweight. He always wanted to go up in division. We know that from history. He never went up to middleweight because Israel Adesanya was the champion. He didn't want to fight his Nigerian brother. And that's okay. We respect that. But now, that's not the case anymore. The road is open for him. I mean, Israel Adesanya is still there, but he's not a champ. And you know what? Maybe he didn't even plan it to be like this. But hey, he took the fight on 11-day short notice. If he manages to beat Khamzat, man, he can do whatever he wants. How can you say no to that man now? He's in a position of power. However, we don't know in what kind of shape Kamaru is. Last thing we heard is we already thought it was a done deal that Belal Muhammad and Kamaru Usman are going to go against each other. But that never got signed. But at the same time, maybe both of them were anticipating that to happen. Maybe he was already in training. Maybe he was training already for the past at least 4 to 5 weeks. Which brings him in a better position. Still, he definitely was not preparing for Khamzat. So here we are. I mean, we got now 2 new matchups under weird circumstances, but you know what? They might be even better. And I'm freaking excited. I don't know about you guys. Let me know how you feel about it. So what happened was, if you didn't know what happened, Charles Oliviera did a sparring session supposedly right before. He didn't even go to Abu Dhabi. Everybody went to Abu Dhabi for the most part, all the fighters, as far as I know. And a day before the trip, he did a sparring session, and his sparring partner hit him in the face, split his eyebrow. And yeah, it's a bad cut. You can see the photos online. And Dana White said if they reached out immediately, they would have had a plastic surgeon that would fix it and he would be able to fight. However, they stitched it up, and by doing so, that's a lost cause. It's like a 2-3 week recovery, and doctors are not going to allow him to fight. And he would be fighting. I mean, if he fought, he would be like at 80%. I mean, it's compromised, right? It's a really bad cut. So it is what it is. I mean, stuff like this happens. That's why we can't take any fight for granted, and we just got to be happy when they stand on that scale, nothing else happens. There's no more weird sparring sessions. They're ready to fight, ready to go. On the other hand, we have Paulo Costa. Now, interesting enough, I made a video, and I made a short video, and I think that video is just popping right now because people want to hear about that as well. I saw Khamzat Chimaev in training on his YouTube videos. He's in the preparation in his camp, and I noticed that he had a knee brace, which gave me a lot of suspicion that he might be injured as well. That he was injured. I didn't even suspect anything about Paulo Costa. I didn't have any evidence. But watching that, I was like, maybe there's something wrong with his knee. Second video, I don't think he had a knee brace, but he had a sleeve on his right, I believe it was the right leg. I'm going to rewatch it. So but that still might be the case. Maybe Khamzat Chimaev is injured, low-key. We don't know. He might be hiding a mild or a severe injury. Who knows? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe I had one viewer commentate on it, and he said that most wrestlers happen to sometimes, in training, they wear something to protect their knee. Obviously, to not scrape it off, to not hurt it, to not compromise it. And then he said, but you know what? He switches stances. So he uses both legs. The thing is, he protected one leg. So there still might be room. There still might be some truth in it. And I'm the only one that reported on this. So we'll see. Time will only tell. The thing is, for now, what we know is that Khamzat is fine and he's fighting. The other breaking news is that Conor McGregor entered the USADA pool. I made a video about that, but check this out. USADA today came out with a statement that said Conor, yes, indeed, is in the pool. However, we in the UFC are cutting ties as of January 1st. So as of 2024, USADA will no longer be working with the UFC. This is huge. This is big news. And in the explanation, they mentioned Conor McGregor. They did not like how UFC handled the situation. They were not happy with USADA's firm stance of Conor not competing, not making an exemption for Conor McGregor. So what does this mean? Will there be no third party regulating this, testing the fighters? Will there be another organization? Will just UFC be conducting it on their own? This is big, big news. And I don't want to say too much. I'm going to wait and see what happens. But by the looks of it, it seems like Conor first lost the battle, but he won the war. Conor is so powerful. Like, the UFC is ready to cut ties over Conor McGregor, their biggest superstar. I mean, crazy, right? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know about what you think about the new matchups. Are you still excited? Who are you rooting for? And how badass is Alex Volkanovski and Kamaru Usman? Kudos to them. I'll see you guys in the next one. And don't forget to subscribe to Octacage MMA.